my lovelies, how's it going? Like I said in my last video, I wanted to come back and explain where I've been for 2 years, which is kind of embarrassing. 2 years is a very long time to be away. So when I last left, I had just moved into family's home after moving out from my mum and dad's with Vinny, and I was just about to start a new job, a new full-time job, which is kind of insane to me that even still happened. Before that, I was working maybe 2 nights a week, and while it was great and my employer was fantastic, it was just time to move on and try and live some sort of normal life. Like I said, we were living with family, and it's not that I felt uncomfortable filming, but for the respect of the family we were living with, I just didn't want to be filming in their space. And also I was very nervous about this new job I was going into. I hadn't told my new employer about my disability at this point. I'll do a whole other video on how my employer handled my disability, how I disclosed it to them, because that in itself is like a completely different story, and we can go into that for a different topic. I won't ever be disclosing what it is that I do for my job, just out of respect for my employer and my own privacy. And then in December 2019, we bought our own house, which is something that I still feel grateful for every single day. Having been at a point in my life where I was bedridden for most of the time, I specifically remember like a certain vlog that I filmed where I was looking out the window and saying like, I just wish I could be normal. I wish I could go out and have drinks with friends like normal people my age.
People my age might be out enjoying the weather. I can't do that.
To go from that to like being able to buy my own house, which is something I never thought I would achieve, is still like the most humbling experience. To have my own space is just amazing. And to have a stable job that supports that as well is great. Obviously my job was affected like so many other people with COVID-19, and with working from home presented its own challenges, so a lot of deconditioning has happened since then in my legs. I'm still a little bit better than I was at my worst. I'm not using my wheelchair, but my legs do get tired super easy still. I've still had a few issues with gastric problems. In November, my partner Vinny got a positive test for COVID, and at that time I was really unwell as well. Although my test came back negative at that time, we're pretty sure that I had it, as I had the high fever, shakes, sore throat. I was really quite unwell for about a week. My POTS has officially been diagnosed, which is something that I'm so glad, I'm so relieved about. I was seeing a specialist before I moved who I don't think he really believed in POTS. He did a tilt test for me, he did an echocardiogram, but the tilt test did show that my heart was elevated. He tried to tell me that it was because I was anxious about the test, which is just absurd. That was that. He wouldn't treat it as POTS. As I moved, my care was transferred. New doctor near where I live, and I requested all my documents from the old doctor. It turns out that I had regurgitation in my heart, which I was never told about at the time, which is quite common for EDS patients. Luckily, the new doctor, not only was he a believer of POTS, and he knew about POTS, but he specialised in POTS as well. He was in no doubt that I suffer from POTS. He gave me a diagnosis, and he's now treating me on 2 different kinds of medication. My heart rate has come down significantly since being on this medication. I'm still dizzy, but I can cope. It's just been a massive game changer for me. It's something in the future that I may have to reevaluate. I may have to come off if I want to have my own children and that sort of thing. We moved in the house and we brought the dog with us that used to live with my partner and his mum and dad. She's a very big dog, so unfortunately I can't walk her very much, but it's my partner that takes her out, and she's just been a blessing. In May last year, we got a cat who, as fate would have it, has a chronic illness himself. which is crazy. I always used to joke about wanting a wonky cat, and I've got a wonky cat. Just like me, he's never going to have a cure to what's happened to him, and it's about managing his symptoms, but he has brought, again, like, so much joy into my life. This is Theo. He's a Bengal. He's very vocal, so if I do some more videos in the future, you may hear his cheeky little voice, but he's a very intuitive little cat. So when I'm feeling unwell and he's feeling unwell, we just kind of look after each other. What are you doing? What are you doing? I received my first COVID vaccine about 3 weeks ago due to my underlying health conditions, and I'm really glad about it. I'm feeling really optimistic about the fact that we might be coming out of this pandemic now. Obviously, I shielded a lot, especially at the beginning, and I can totally understand the impact that it's had on so many people, being cut off from friends and family, especially when you're not able to go out much anyway. It's just... So I really hope that you've all been keeping safe and well during this crazy, unprecedented time. And I'm really hoping that the world is starting to go back to normal somewhat. If there are things that you would like me to talk about specifically in some upcoming videos, please let me know. I've been thinking about making videos for a while, but haven't been moved so much by Amy's passing. I think because she had such an impact on my own journey, it just sort of like sparked that fire in me. Like, this is so important that we still need to keep talking about this. We still need to keep raising awareness, not even just for EDS, but for chronic illness sufferers in general. Like, we don't talk about it enough, and young people are still dying, and it's still a problem. Anyway, on that note, I think I'm going to go, but I'm so glad to see you guys again. It feels like talking to an old friend, and I hope I can speak to you soon. Take care.